Everyone saw the cowboy, the squinting gunslinger who made silence look deadly. But what they didn't see was the 21-year-old soldier who learned to kill with his bare hands in a program so secret it didn't officially exist. This is the story Hollywood never knew, and Clint never told. If you believe that real strength comes from silence, if you're after authentic heroism stories, this video is for you. Tell us in the comments, have you ever learned someone's real background and started seeing them with completely different eyes? And if you love these hidden power stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we'll keep sharing America's biggest secrets with you. The year was 1951. Clint Eastwood was just another farm boy from San Francisco, drafted into the Army during the Korean War. Tall, quiet, unremarkable, the kind of kid who blended into formation without causing trouble. His superiors saw potential, but not the kind that gets you medals or recognition. They saw something deeper, unbreakable composure. While most recruits were assigned to standard infantry training, Clint was pulled aside for something different, something that didn't appear on any official records. The program had no name, no insignia, no graduation ceremony. It was simply known as Advanced Combat Training, a euphemism for learning how to survive behind enemy lines when conventional weapons weren't an option. The facility was tucked away in the Mojave Desert, far from prying eyes and curious reporters. Here, young soldiers learned skills that the Geneva Convention preferred to ignore: silent takedowns, psychological warfare, survival techniques that bordered on the impossible. The instructors were men who'd fought in World War II's darkest theaters: OSS operatives, reconnaissance specialists, men who'd learned to kill quietly and disappear without a trace. Clint excelled in ways that surprised even his hardened instructors. While other recruits struggled with the physical demands, he absorbed every lesson with methodical precision. Hand-to-hand combat became second nature. Weapons training revealed an almost supernatural calm under pressure. But it was his mental discipline that truly set him apart, the ability to remain motionless for hours, to observe without being seen, to strike without warning. Sergeant Major Harrison, a decorated veteran of Guadalcanal, would later write in his classified report, "Eastwood possesses the rarest quality in a soldier, the ability to become invisible in plain sight. He doesn't react, he responds, he doesn't rush, he waits. In 20 years of training men for war, I've never seen such natural predatory instincts combined with complete emotional control." The training was brutal. Days began at 0400 with silent runs through desert terrain, navigating by starlight alone. Combat scenarios involved live ammunition and real consequences. Injuries weren't uncommon, and failure meant starting over. Clint learned to move through hostile territory without leaving footprints, to neutralize enemies twice his size using leverage and precision instead of brute force, to endure interrogation techniques that pushed the human mind to its breaking point. But perhaps the most valuable skill he acquired was the art of concealment, not just physical, but psychological. How to hide your true capabilities behind a mask of ordinary competence. How to let others underestimate you while you gathered intelligence. How to project calm authority without revealing the deadly training beneath. The program lasted 18 months. Of the 47 soldiers who entered, only 19 completed it. Clint was among the top 5 graduates, earning special commendation for what his instructors called adaptive lethality, the ability to neutralize threats using whatever tools were available, from bare hands to improvised weapons. When the training ended, every participant signed documents that classified their experience for 30 years. They were reassigned to conventional units, forbidden from discussing their specialized training with anyone, including family members, fellow soldiers, and future employers. As far as the official record showed, Clint Eastwood had served a standard tour of duty, nothing more. But the training never left him. Years later, when Hollywood discovered the quiet young man with the piercing stare, directors assumed his screen presence was pure acting. They didn't realize that every movement had been drilled into muscle memory during those 18 months in the desert. The way he held weapons wasn't theatrical. It was textbook military precision. His famous squint wasn't a character choice. It was a reconnaissance technique for reading terrain and assessing threats. On the set of A Fistful of Dollars, director Sergio Leone marveled at Clint's natural authenticity. "He doesn't act tough," Leone told his cinematographer. "He simply is tough. There's something in his eyes, like he's seen things, done things, but he never talks about it." The weapon handling that made Dirty Harry so believable? That came from hundreds of hours of firearms training under combat conditions. The steely calm in high-pressure scenes? That was psychological conditioning designed to prevent panic in life-or-death situations. The way he moved through space, economical, purposeful, always aware of exits and potential threats, pure special operations instinct. Film armorer Michael Ryan, who worked with Clint on multiple productions, noticed something unusual. "Most actors need extensive coaching on weapon safety and handling," Ryan explained. "With Clint, I showed him a gun once and he handled it like he'd been using it his whole life. His trigger discipline was perfect, his stance was textbook, and he never ever pointed a weapon at anyone, even during action scenes with blanks. That's not acting, that's training." But it wasn't just the physical skills that translated to screen success. The psychological training proved equally valuable. Clint had learned to read people, to identify their motivations, their weaknesses, their tells. In Hollywood negotiations, this made him formidable. While other actors relied on agents and lawyers, Clint could assess a room full of studio executives and immediately understand the power dynamics, the real decision makers, the pressure points that would lead to favorable deals. His famous economy with words wasn't a personality quirk, it was operational security. In his classified training, unnecessary communication was dangerous. Information was power, and revealing too much could get you killed. This translated to an interview style that frustrated journalists but intrigued audiences. Clint said just enough to be compelling, never enough to reveal everything. The training also explained his legendary work ethic and precision as a director. Military operations succeed through meticulous planning and flawless execution. On his film sets, Clint applied the same principles: detailed preparation, clear objectives, no wasted motion, no unnecessary risks. Crew members often remarked on his ability to see problems before they occurred, to anticipate equipment failures or scheduling conflicts days in advance. "Working with Clint is like working with a general," veteran cinematographer Jack Green observed. "He sees the entire battlefield: budget, schedule, weather, personnel, equipment. Nothing surprises him because he's already planned for every contingency." That's not normal Hollywood behavior, that's military precision. The secrecy surrounding his training created some unexpected challenges. During the production of Heartbreak Ridge, where Clint played a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant, military advisors were brought in to ensure authenticity. But Clint's portrayal was so accurate that it raised questions among the Marine consultants. "He knew things he shouldn't have known," recalled Gunnery Sergeant Thomas Mitchell, who served as technical advisor. "Combat formations, radio protocols, tactical terminology that wasn't in the script. When we asked where he'd learned it, he just said, 'around.' But you don't pick up that level of knowledge around. That comes from serious training." The closest Clint ever came to revealing his background was during a 1985 interview with Barbara Walters. When she pressed him about his military service, asking whether he'd seen combat, Clint paused for several seconds, an eternity in television time. Finally, he said, "I served my country." Some things are better left private. The way he said it, with a finality that discouraged follow-up questions, suggested there was much more to the story. That same year, the 30-year classification period for his training program expired. Pentagon officials quietly declassified the existence of the Advanced Combat Training Initiative, though specific details and participant names remained sealed. A brief mention appeared in a Department of Defense historical review, describing it as a specialized preparatory program for reconnaissance personnel, discontinued 1953. For those who knew what to look for, Clint's films became a masterclass in legitimate military technique. The way he cleared rooms in Dirty Harry followed tactical protocols that weren't taught in police academies, but were standard in special operations. His interrogation scenes in Unforgiven demonstrated psychological pressure techniques that were classified until the 1990s. Even his famous "Do you feel lucky?" Scene showcased proper cover and concealment principles while maintaining psychological dominance over a threat. Stunt coordinators and fight choreographers consistently praised Clint's natural understanding of realistic combat. "He doesn't do movie fighting," explained veteran stunt coordinator Buddy Van Horn. "He does real fighting that happens to look good on camera. There's a difference. Movie fighting is choreographed dance. Real fighting is problem-solving under pressure." Clint always chose options that would actually work in a real situation. This authenticity extended beyond action sequences. Clint's portrayal of military characters, from the cavalry officer in The Outlaw Josie Wales to the Korean War veteran in Gran Torino, carried emotional truth that resonated with actual veterans. He understood the psychological weight of violence, the cost of survival, the burden of skills that society preferred to forget. Vietnam veterans, in particular, connected with Clint's screen presence. "He got it," explained decorated Marine veteran James Rodriguez. "The 1,000-yard stare, the way trauma changes how you see the world, the difficulty of translating survival skills into civilian life. You could tell he'd been somewhere dark and come back different." This understanding emerged in unexpected places as well. Clint's famous partnerships with certain actors, particularly those with military backgrounds like Gene Hackman and Morgan Freeman, developed through subtle recognition of shared experience. They communicated through gestures and glances that civilian actors couldn't interpret, creating on-screen chemistry that felt natural because it was based on authentic mutual respect. "There was something about Clint that military guys recognized immediately," observed Freeman. "A way of moving, of assessing situations, of maintaining awareness. You can't fake that kind of presence. It comes from being tested under pressure and proving you won't break." Today, when young actors study Clint's performances, they're learning from someone who understood violence, leadership, and survival from personal experience rather than imagination. His authenticity on screen came from authentic experience off-screen. Experience gained in a desert training facility that officially never existed, learning skills that officially were never taught. This is the story Hollywood never knew, and Clint never told. The story of how a secret military program created not just a soldier, but a legend. Because sometimes the most powerful performances come from the deepest truths, and the most compelling characters are those who've lived lives worth keeping secret. In a world of manufactured celebrities and artificial personas, Clint Eastwood remained genuine because his foundation was real. He didn't need to act tough. He learned to be tough in places where weakness meant death. He didn't need to project authority. He earned authority through trials that tested his limits and forged his character. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson from his hidden story. Authentic presence can't be taught in acting classes or developed through publicity campaigns. It comes from real experience, real challenges, and real character tested under real pressure. Everything else is just performance.
Don't forget to hit the like button if you like the video and subscribe if you want videos like this to come. See you in the next story.